John, thank you very much for hosting today's panel, and thank you for the very kind invitation to be here. I'm just going to say a few words about the future of Europe, what Brexit means for the future of Europe, how the United States ties into all this, and then also I'd like to conclude by saying a few words about what Margaret Thatcher thought about Britain leaving the EU. And firstly, on the future of Europe, in essence, the future of Europe will be decided between those who believe in sovereignty, self-determination, and the principles of liberty and freedom, and between those who believe in supranationalism, who believe in the centralization of power and the suppression of self-determination. And this is the great battle that defines Europe today. It's being fought in every single European country. And this is really an historic time. It's a pivotal moment with Brexit. 17.4 million Britons voted to leave the European Union. This is a real revolution here. And as often the case with revolutions, the status quo tries to stop it, to block it, to suppress it. And you're seeing that with the EU's reaction to Brexit, where the EU has treated the negotiations with Great Britain as a form of punishment beating, as a sort of IRA-style kneecapping. Why? As a warning to every other European country of the consequences of daring to try and leave the European club. And the tremendous significance of Brexit, I think, is understood to a great degree in the United States. And there is a reason why US conservatives so strongly support Brexit, because they see Brexit as a reflection of the ideals that have driven the United States for centuries. The desire to be free, to preserve that freedom, the desire for the American people to shape their own destiny. And so for most Americans, they cannot understand why any country in Europe would want to hand over control of their laws, their trade, their borders to a bunch of bureaucrats sitting in Brussels. And I think the mindset of the European elites was demonstrated clearly by Guy Verhofstadt, the Brexit negotiator in the European Parliament, who was interviewed recently, and he said that the goal was to turn Britain into a colony of the European Union. This is the mindset of those who seek to overturn Brexit, of those who seek to submerge Britain and the whole of Europe within a federal superstate. And my former boss, Margaret Thatcher, wrote in Statecraft, which was her last book, that there's no greater folly in modern times than this desire to create a European superstate, which is very much the goal of figures such as Emmanuel Macron, for example, who has pushed for the creation of a European Union army. Macron says that an EU army is necessary to stand up not only to the Russians and the Chinese, but also to the United States as well. And so there's a great deal of anti-Americanism that drives the entire European project. And I think that the present US administration understands this very well, which is why the US president is so strongly in favor of Brexit. He is so strongly opposed to the creation of a European Union army. And at the end of the day, I think the EU is viewed increasingly in the United States as a monument to big government. As Margaret Thatcher described it, a monumental folly, really. And this is really, at the end of the day, a fundamental battle between sovereignty and self-determination and supranationalism, between the principles of freedom and the driving principles of unelected bureaucrats who seek to hold sway over hundreds of millions of people. And everyone in Europe will have to make this choice in the coming years, the coming decades, whether they want to be truly free and sovereign, or whether they wish their countries to be living in a state of servitude to the EU. And I think it is a very, very clear choice. And I'm 100% certain that if Lady Thatcher were alive today, she would have greatly celebrated Brexit and everything that it stood for. And if she had been in charge of the negotiations with the European Union, she would have taken her handbag and handbagged, I'm sure, those Eurocrats standing in the way of a decision taken by the British people. The British people have spoken. That decision must be respected. They have voted for their freedom. That freedom cannot be denied or taken away. And it is important that the whole of Europe respects that decision. It's important that Theresa May respects that decision. And it's a decision, I think, that is greatly welcomed by the American people, who see Brexit as a tremendous opportunity to advance freedom across the world, but also a tremendous opportunity to strengthen the US-UK special relationship, the greatest force, I think, for freedom that the world has seen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.